members of the high table and other participants and some members of journalists. Good morning, everybody. You see, where geology, I'm a geologist, a mineral explorationist, and where mineral exploration labels climate change or atmospheric scientific studies is in the area of what do you call it? Electromagnetism that emanates from the core material. It transcends into the atmosphere through the mantle material, through the crust, and then into the atmosphere. So whatever happens within the surface layer of the internal parts of the Earth's surface, it goes up into the atmosphere and transcends into the Moon's satellite. So Moon and the Earth share something in common. Electromagnetism and paleomagnetism. That's a junction which collaborates or which makes a relationship to be developed between natural philosophy of geology and atmospheric studies, which brings about this climate change. Now, to start it all over collectively in a nutshell, summarily, it all began during the Archean period of time when God created Earth. Archean, about 4.6 billion years back. Now, Archean came with the origination of algae and some bacterial substances, smashing up to the period of Devonian. Algae and the bacteria that were formed they got originated from Archean down to the early part of Devonian period, developed petroleum resources, and the geological forces acted on them. They squeezed them. After they die, after some times, they died, their body parts were preserved naturally, and the oil or petroleum was squeezed out of them. Now, you will want to now believe with me that those algae and the bacterial components had biological origin because they were living organisms. They transformed into petroleum resources which got migrated and settled at a certain deposition environment. That's number one. Number two, during and after the period or year of Devonian, up to this time around, number one, we said from Archean to Devonian, we had algae and the bacteria. Number two, we now have, it began when man came on Earth about 3 million years back. 3,000 years back. Activities of man made it possible for anthropogenic activities of man to survive, like digging, hunting, gathering, like agriculture, early agriculture practice made it possible for those fuel fossils to be releasing into the atmosphere. When coal and other petroleum substances were burnt, they could either be burnt either artificially or by natural means into the atmosphere. They will then be released into the atmosphere to form part of the CHG. Fossil fuels are 4 in number. They are methane, that's number one, forming part of the hydrocarbon compounds. The second part, which scaled up to produce the greater heat capacity we are having today is carbon dioxide or carbon dioxide for proper. It was carbon dioxide before, but the IUPAC new name is carbon dioxide, which is the highest component that brings about the, what do you call it, global warming. The other two are chlorofluoro, methane, and hydrochlorous substances. So there are four in number. Now, these four gaseous components now have one common feature in them, which is chemically and physically studied in laboratories. They behave like greenhouse gases, which you can easily perform an experiment in a particular room to produce them artificially. Now, naturally, they do emit infrared radiant energy. What is infrared radiant energy? Radiation energy coming from sun is directly hitting the underground surface layer of the earth during the diurnal time. In geography terms, when we say diurnal, we mean daytime. Nocturnal time means night time. Now, heating capacity during the daily times by radiant energy of the upper surface layer of the earth's surface, ground layer, ground cover. In the night, the heat is being radiated back into the atmosphere again. But you know one good story, one funny story is to believe that the four commonest gaseous components, with carbon dioxide being the one which scaled up the greater capacity of hotness, bringing in a lot of heat percentages into the atmosphere, carbon dioxide. Four of them are found within the tropospheric parts of the atmosphere. They do catch up and they engulf the heat capacity that is being radiated back into the atmosphere. In geography terms, during the daytime, there is an excessive heat of the ground layer. Now, during the night time, in layman's understanding, during the night time, that heat is being emanated, is being uptaken back into the atmosphere again, radiating back. But you know one good funny thing is, the four gaseous components never allow 100% of that heat that is going back into the atmosphere again to go back. 60% is being engulfed by those four components of the gaseous components to be re-radiated back onto the Earth's surface again. To continue the heating, now we have double heating again during the period of, what do you call it, daytime, and then during the night time. During the night time, instead of the heating capacity to be bringing back into the atmosphere, radiating back into the atmosphere, the four components, especially carbon dioxide, they have the chemical and the physical property of engulfing and catching up with the heat capacity that is going back during the night time and bringing it back into the earth again by increasing the heating capacity onto the earth's surface. So the earth is repeatedly being hot at all times, both during the night and during the daytimes.